If you're watching this video right now, you need to pay very close attention because what I'm about to show you is something that 99% of people have absolutely no idea is happening, and it's going to affect your money whether you like it or not. So here's what you need to know. Silver is trading at $78 per ounce, and gold just hit $4,900 per ounce. And if those numbers don't shock you, they absolutely should, because 6 years ago, silver was sitting at around $15 and gold was barely above $1,800. And what happened between then and now is not what the mainstream media is telling you. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why the smartest money in the world is moving into these metals right now while everyone else is completely asleep. But before we get into that, I need to show you something that's going to blow your mind. Because there's a hidden ratio that Wall Street uses to predict massive wealth transfers, and right now that ratio is flashing red, and I'm going to explain exactly what it means in just a second. But first, you need to understand what's really driving these prices. Because it's not inflation, it's not fear, it is something much bigger and much more dangerous. So let's talk about what's actually happening right now in the precious metals market, because silver just did something it hasn't done in over 40 years. It broke through a resistance level that analysts said was impossible. And when I show you the chart, you're going to see exactly what I mean. But here's the thing. Most people are looking at this completely wrong. They think, oh, silver went up, gold went up, cool. But they're missing the massive opportunity that is sitting right in front of them. And the opportunity I'm talking about could be the difference between protecting your wealth and watching it evaporate over the next 24 months. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but why should I care about silver and gold when I can just invest in stocks or crypto or real estate? And that's a fair question, but here's what nobody's telling you. There's a supply crisis happening right now that is about to get much worse. Silver mines are producing less every single year. Industrial demand is skyrocketing because of electric vehicles, solar panels, and technology. And here's the kicker. China and Russia are hoarding silver, like their lives depend on it. And when you connect those dots, you start to realize this is not just a price increase. This is the beginning of a supply shock that could send silver to levels that seem crazy right now. But it gets even more interesting because gold is doing something completely different. Gold is the safe haven, the wealth protector, the asset that central banks are buying in record amounts. And when you see gold at $4,900 per ounce, you have to ask yourself, what do they know that we don't? And the answer is going to surprise you. Because it's not about protecting against a stock market crash. It's about protecting against something far more systematic. It's about the devaluation of every major currency on the planet. And if you think that sounds extreme, just wait until you see what's happening behind closed doors. What do they know that we don't? And the answer is going to surprise you because it's not about protecting against a stock market crash. It's about protecting against something far more systematic. It's about the devaluation of every major currency on the planet. And if you think that sounds extreme, just wait until you see what's happening behind closed doors. Let me show you something that most people completely ignore. There's something called the gold to silver ratio, and right now it's sitting at around 63 to 1, which means it takes 63 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. And historically, when this ratio gets out of whack, it corrects violently. And I mean violently. We're talking about silver doubling or tripling in a matter of months, while gold stays relatively stable. And here's why this matters. If you understand this ratio, you can position yourself to profit massively, because when silver catches up to gold, and it always does, the gains are exponential. Let me show you something that most people completely ignore. There's something called the gold to silver ratio, and right now it's sitting at around 63 to 1, which means it takes 63 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. And historically, when this ratio gets out of whack, it corrects violently. And I mean violently. We're talking about silver doubling or tripling in a matter of months, while gold stays relatively stable. And here's why this matters. If you understand this ratio, you can position yourself to profit massively, because when silver catches up to gold, and it always does, the gains are exponential. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, this sounds great, but how do I know this is not just hype? How do I know silver and gold are actually going to keep going up? And that's the right question to ask, because you shouldn't just trust anyone on the internet telling you to buy something. But here's the difference. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, this sounds great, but how do I know this isn't just hype? How do I know silver and gold are actually going to keep going up? And that's the right question to ask, because you shouldn't just trust anyone on the internet telling you to buy something. But here's the difference. I'm not telling you to buy anything. I'm showing you the data, and the data is screaming that we are in the early stages of a precious metal supercycle that could last for years. But think about it like this. Every single time in history when governments printed massive amounts of money, what happened next? Gold and silver went up every single time. When geopolitical tensions increased, what happened next? Gold and silver went up every single time when people lost faith in the banking system. What happened next? Gold and silver went up. And right now, all three of those things are happening at the same time. So if you can't see where this is going, you're not paying attention. But here's where it gets really interesting, because there's a fourth factor that nobody's talking about, and it is the industrial demand for silver that I mentioned earlier. And this is critical because gold doesn't have this. Gold is mostly just a store of value, but silver is both a store of value and an industrial metal, which means it has dual demand. And when industrial demand explodes like it is doing right now with the green energy revolution and the AI boom, silver becomes one of the most valuable commodities on Earth. Let me paint a picture for you. Every single solar panel needs silver. Every single electric vehicle needs silver. Every single 5G tower needs silver. Every single data center needs silver. And we're not talking about small amounts. We're talking about ounces per unit. And when you multiply that across billions of devices being built over the next decade, you start to realize that there is not enough silver on Earth to meet that demand at current prices, which means prices have to go up. It's basic supply and demand. And here's the part that should really get your attention, because while all of this industrial demand is surging, investment demand is also exploding. People are waking up to the fact that their cash is losing value every single day. Inflation is real, even if the government tries to hide it. And when people lose faith in paper money, they turn to real assets, and the two most liquid real assets on the planet are gold and silver. So you've got industrial buyers competing with investors, competing with central banks, all fighting over a limited supply. And that is the recipe for a price explosion. Now let's talk about gold for a second, because gold is doing something absolutely insane right now. It's breaking out to all-time highs while most people are distracted by stocks and crypto. And the reason gold is moving is because the big players, the people who manage billions and trillions of dollars, know something that retail investors don't. They know that the current financial system is built on a foundation of debt that can never be repaid. And when that debt bubble bursts, the only assets that will hold value are the ones that can't be printed. And gold is the king of those assets. Central banks around the world are buying gold at record pace. China is buying Russia, is buying India, is buying Poland, is buying, and they're not doing this for fun. They're doing this because they're preparing for a major shift in the global financial system. And when central banks are buying, you better believe that is a signal worth paying attention to, because these are the institutions that have access to information that you and I will never see. And if they're loading up on gold, it's because they know what's coming. But here's what makes this moment in history so unique. It's not just about gold or silver individually, it's about the relationship between the two and the massive reset that's happening in real time. You see, for decades, silver was suppressed, it was undervalued, it was ignored, while gold got all the attention. But that's changing right now. Silver's waking up. And when silver wakes up, it doesn't just move, it explodes. And the people who understand this and position themselves accordingly are the ones who are going to build generational wealth over the next 5 to 10 years. So what does all of this mean for you? Well, if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for confirmation, you're going to miss the boat, because by the time everyone agrees that silver and gold are in a bull market, the prices will already be double or triple what they are today, and you'll be buying at the top. The smart money doesn't wait for confirmation. The smart money acts when they see the setup, and right now the setup is perfect. Think about where we are silver at $78, gold at $4,900, the gold to silver ratio, showing that silver is still historically cheap compared to gold supply deficits in the silver market, industrial demand exploding, central banks hoarding gold, geopolitical chaos, economic uncertainty, currency, debasement, all happening at the same time. This is not a coincidence. This is a convergence of forces that only happens once every few decades. And the last time this happened, silver went from $5 to $50 in less than 3 years. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine if you had bought silver when it was $15. Just 6 years ago, you'd be up over 400% right now. And imagine if you bought gold when it was $1,800, you'd be up over 150%. Those are life-changing returns. And the crazy part is, we're still early in this cycle because the fundamentals are stronger now than they were back then. The debt is higher, the money printing is more extreme, the geopolitical tensions are worse, and the industrial demand for silver didn't even exist at those levels back then. So here's my question for you. Are you going to wait until silver is at $200 and gold is at $10,000 before you pay attention? Or are you going to recognize what's happening right now and position yourself accordingly? Because the opportunity is here, the data is clear, and the trend is undeniable. But opportunities like this don't last forever. They close quickly. And when they close, the people who waited are left wondering, what if? The bottom line is, this silver and gold are not just going up randomly, they're going up because the entire financial system is being restructured. Whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, it's happening. And the people who understand this are moving their wealth into hard assets right now, while prices are still reasonable. And if you're watching this video, you're one of the few people who even knows this is going on, which means you have an advantage, but advantages only matter if you act on them. So pay attention to what's happening. Watch these markets, study the gold to silver ratio, understand the supply and demand dynamics, and make your own informed decision, because this is your wealth we're talking about. And in times like these, the decisions you make today will determine your financial reality for the next decade and beyond.